Hello, everyone. My name is Paisley Munene, and I have the honor of being the granddaughter of Charles Holmes. He's known me since I was a baby in my mother's womb, and he officially adopted me when I was 2 years old. I moved into his home with his beloved wife, Gwendolyn Holmes, where they both raised me with love, faith, and wisdom until I later moved in with their daughter, Christy Holmes. So today we gather to celebrate the life and the legacy of such an extraordinary man. He was a father, a grandfather, a friend, presiding elder, a pastor, the founder of Christ our Redeemer, doctor of theology, and above all, he was a man after God's own heart. So I want to share a few things about him that help to describe the type of person he was and his character. So Papa Holmes wasn't just a title or a role in my life. He was my safe place, my healer. He was my example. I remember when I was sick or when I was riding my bike and I would scrape my knee, he was the first one, always there, with a bandage in one hand and, of course, love in the other. And most people expect a mother to be the one who patches up, but for me, it was always him. He had this, anyone that knows him, he had this quiet, steady way of showing up for people, and not just for me, but he was always there for everyone who needed him. Whether he was in the background or not, he was there. I remember after church, I remember on Sundays, all I wanted to do was go home and I just wanted to go play with my dolls. But instead, I sat beside him for hours as he drove around in his car delivering communion to the sick or the people who didn't make it to church or, just anyone in need. He was there and he would always give communion to them on Sundays, or he would show up every Wednesday for Bible study. And it didn't matter if it was one person coming or two, he would be there. But he never saw it as an obligation. To him, it was love, it was ministry, and it just showcased that it just was who he was. It was who he was. So another time I can recall, I remember one Saturday, I found him sitting quietly in his room in his rocking chair, and he was sitting there listening to classical music, and I just watched him as he just looked out the window in a daze. And I thought to myself, it's Saturday. This is so boring. Like, Poppy, why don't you go find something to do? Like, as kids, we want to have fun. We want to go play. We're just excited on Saturday. We're out of school. We're not going to church. It's just Saturday is our day to just have fun. But for him, Saturdays was his day to relax and clean. And then he would sit in that chair and listen to that classical music. And I'm like, that is so boring in my mind. That is so boring. But I asked him one day, as an inquisitive child, I said, Poppy, why do you sit there all day long and just listen to music? And he said to me, sometimes you have to quiet your mind so that God can speak to you. And that moment stayed with me because that was Poppy. He's a man of discipline, a man of peace, always learning, always growing. And if he wasn't working on his next sermon, he was studying, he was writing, he was listening, just learning and taking in knowledge. So he taught me that discipline is a form of love for yourself, for others, and for God. He was the most disciplined, most intelligent, most God-fearing man I ever known. To know him was to love him. And if you ever had the privilege of hearing him speak, whether in a church, a living room, or just in passing, you know that he didn't just speak words. He spoke wisdom. He carried the voice of someone who walked closely with God. And though our hearts are heavy today, we also rejoice because we know he is no longer suffering. He is standing at the gates of heaven, hand in hand with Gwendolyn, smiling, whole, at peace. And I believe with everything in me that he is hearing the words we all long to hear one day. Well done, my beloved. Well done. Thank you.